Hi there, it's Angel. It is December the I think I've looked this up a few times. What's the date today? December 9th, Monday, December 9th, 2024. I feel to come and make a video in a different style, more in the now, in the now. This in the now, living in the now. I've heard that for a long time. The power of now, Eckhart Tolle. It's taken me a long time to figure out what that really means. And I feel like a new level of understanding, understanding that has come to me in the recent couple weeks. Well, really a couple years, but I'm not really calling it that, but living in the now. So my former videos, I think the last one was November 21st. So that was a ways back, a couple weeks ago. And I did a little kind of a grouping of videos that were going back to a decade ago and more, where I was expressing kind of some backstory, where does this girl come from? Who does she think she is? I am the differently abled messenger, as I was named at birth, Angel Claudette, the lame angel, disabled angel, differently abled messenger. So I've known that for a long time. Kind of came to that even in 2010, like, what? My name's Claudette, and it means lame, disabled, my middle name. I'm like, huh, well, should I change my name? That was my first thought. I was so mind based in my thinking and being and living, and that's where a lot of people are. I think like it is what it is. But it's not to say that any dot on the continuum is really we're evolving. The title of this video, that's go to that evolving model for living. Evolving model for living. I love the word evolving because it's not stagnant. It's not, let's put our finger on it and put it in a box and leave it in there. Put it in a file and that's it. Like, even the way we use our words, vocabulary is kind of like that. However, we do try to communicate with each other with words. I do think there's a day when we'll probably be communicating a lot more harmoniously, a lot more effectively, a lot more efficiently outside of words. That's a coming attraction, I do believe. And I actually have come to know that for myself, I do that already. But at the same time, there's always more. There's always more. Evolving model for living. Well, anyways, I think why I'm doing this today, this is kind of a daily experience. In a way, I get excited or enthusiastic. I have developed a little bit of an unusual, I'm always kind of tweaking my system of living. And I recently, like with my Facebook fast starting at the end of October 2024, I just really made extra attention to what I'm curating. What am I focusing my attention to? What am I giving time to? What is nourishing me? What is helpful? What is aligned to who I am and what I want to co-create, how I want to collaborate in this world. So I got a little more focused. And so every day I get up and I put the coffee pot on. I drink coffee, but I drink 1/3 caffeinated, 2/3 decaffeinated. So I'm always playing around with those blends and I'm grinding it again myself. And so it's a nice cup of coffee. I really enjoy it and just don't feel to stop it. So with that, I choose one video, only one. There's been times 2 years ago, 3 years ago, even a year ago, maybe, where I might spend a whole day watching videos. Like there's a lot of people doing that. I know that. I've just come to learn that. If you're on your own and you have a lot of time on your hands and and I actually really do enjoy particularly seeing where one expanded aware person is interviewing another expanded aware person with a purpose and sharing their purpose and their gifts and their genius. I will reiterate, I've said before, I do feel I'm a genius at recognizing genius. And that may be true for everyone, especially when you are aligned to who you truly are. The more and more aligned you get, the more and more genius you get at recognizing the genius of others and even of yourself. We are a giant multidimensional puzzle, and every single individual is part of that beautiful puzzle. I really don't think we should allow continued habits of intolerance and not recognizing the genius of others. I don't think that's really an optimal way to live. It's not a harmonious way to live. It doesn't even feel good to you. I would offer, because when you're sitting around, there's different. Anyway, that's getting off on a tangent. So today I chose, like, I was wondering, I sort of thought, oh, there's nothing lined up. Often the night before, I'm like, oh, I'm going to watch this tomorrow with my coffee, but I didn't have one lined up. And then, ding, there was one from Physic. Free energy. Ooh, let's just share my screen. Let me just show you the video that prompted me to come here. And I'm going to here. Oh, I want to do, hold on. This is going to look a little messy for a second, but I need to, wait a minute. There's something I need to do. Oh, more here. I need to optimize for video sharing. Allo, bonjour. Okay, so then this one, let's go. I want to go here. And I want to make it all the way big. I like to show my inexpertise. I think it's fun because we don't have to be an expert. Honestly, I would. So this is Dr. David Clements. I've spoken of him recently about the IC technology devices that I purchased. So this is FESIG, and I forget, free energy something. It stands for something. But anyways, I really like this channel. They really do. They're geniuses at recognizing geniuses, and they give them a platform to speak about their genius. But let's meet Dr. David Clements. And as I do that, I'm just going to I made some notes as I was watching this, and I didn't even finish it because I have an appointment in about an hour I have to leave. So I just wanted to do this while it was fresh and exciting, because I've learned in the last couple of weeks, if you don't do it when it's fresh that day, it's gone. Like, you got to live in the now. Today, this is where my enthusiasm is. And I guess part of why it's funny how I'm talking and you get to look at David Clements. Maybe I should let him speak a little bit. Yeah, I think you'll get pretty quickly why. I just feel like he validated so many things for me, but also I've already watched him twice be interviewed by Michael Salla. He is a genius, like really, truly, oh my goodness. But okay, wait a minute. I'm going to stop sharing because I actually think I should just tell you more. You are screen sharing, stop share. Okay. What do I do here? He gave me, there's attributes that I follow and different ones at different times. And right now I got added just based on watching this video about a new attribute that I'm now following, heart-centered to mind-focused ratio. Heart-centered being based on mind-focused being. And I think there's a continuum, like all attributes. So that's one of the nails on my little model for demonstration purposes, that there's many, many attributes to a human being. Are they relevant or are they irrelevant? Okay, I think I will speak to the fact that consider myself a medical intuitive. How come it took me decades to truly own that description of myself? Well, I think one reason why I was trained as a medical doctor. So I got this idea that health is this, and bones and chemistry and circulation system, respiratory system. There's these ways of looking at health. So I was having medical intuition even while practicing as a doctor. I did find it very confusing. It wasn't that clear, it wasn't that specific. And I had in my mind a model and a framework, allopathic medicine, the way they think, the way I was taught to think about human health. Well, that really threw me off. Then you have to deprogram, unprogram, clear. So, a framework is a framework is a framework. So this evolving model or framework for living, I would not I highly recommend that we don't use the allopathic model too seriously. I think we can be aware it's a historical, anthropological component to our world, because so many people are believing in that and have been taught and trained. This is how it is for health. Go check your blood pressure, go check your hemoglobin. And not to say those things aren't relevant, they are relevant to some extent. But let's say that framework isn't the optimal one. Well, then what? Well, this is where we are. It is not the optimal one. That's what I proclaim, ha ha ha, based on my experience and sincere conscious exploration of so many things. I mean, you wouldn't even want to be in my head some days 5 years ago, like starting in 2010, even 2008, something was starting. So it was like a hobby, but I had young kids. So you do what you do with the time that you have. Well, eventually those kids grow up, they go away. And then, I had a lot of more time on my hands, and I've applied myself in unique ways, having unique experiences, going on trips, I've met so many different facilitators for the purpose of optimal health. And there's just so many cool people out there. And I've done personal sessions with so many. I couldn't even, I don't know, I'm just trying to, let's see if I could vibe. How many? 200? About 200. Like, that's a lot, right? Like, this is hobby. training, like whenever your passion is going in some direction, there's usually a purpose to it. I always was very, very passionate about it right from the get-go. And I think it started in about 2010. So here we are, 14 years later, approx. And so the idea of allopathic medicine being a framework. So with this, viewing this Dr. David Clemens today in this physic, which I think was just released today, just in the perfect time. Like I also noticed timing. Sometimes things are just timed really fun. So this idea of this heart, I want to offer this as a valid point for being aware. What is your, and I decided to choose that percentage. So I vibed for myself that I'm at the 80% heart-centered to mind-focused. And I kind of, then my next question, and this is to my highest version of myself. I'm asking myself, my own wisdom, as connected as I can access, would 100% be optimal? And I go, yes, 100% heart-based to mind focused would be optimal. So that's pretty freaking cool. And I guess if you choose to watch the whole video, I'm going to play a few clips from David Clemens because I think there's some really pertinent, because he's basically describing how and why that is true. So it just felt like such a validation, but it was new data. So I'm now going to be following this. And then I kind of vibed into a few people I know, and I think heart-based to mind-focused ratio. So then there's even the I like to say my joy to drudgery ratio. What's my joy to drudgery ratio? I actually marked it many years ago as a very valid point. Another one of these. But again, it doesn't fit into the allopathic medicine model, but I think it's way more relevant. Okay, I will share my silly 4-point logic. I think I've written about 4-point logic versus 2-point logic, and it's kind of silly, but I came up like instantly when I was reading Preview of a Limitless Mind by Russell Targ. I didn't even finish that book, but anyways, I got a lot out of that book to whatever level that I got to. It's on my Kindle, but I just flippantly decide, 4-point logic, relevant, irrelevant, relevantly irrelevant, and irrelevantly irrelevant. That makes me laugh every freaking time. So I do think there's such a thing as relevantly irrelevant data. And a lot of it could kind of fit into our unsustainable system of systems. It's relevant because it's in place right now, and a lot of people are believing it and they're acting it out. So that makes it relevantly irrelevant. And irrelevantly irrelevant. I don't know. I just had fun with that. So, and then the truth is relative, and what is a human being, fully and truly, what is reality? If you don't know those two things, I think you're going to have a challenge to create really perfect, optimal, harmonious systems that work for everyone. So this is, I feel, where we're at right now. Like, okay, no problem, but like we have much to do. We must go very slowly. We have to stop, pause, reflect, connect, align, collaborate in optimal groups. Anyway, so these are my themes, my professional themes, what I call my professional themes. Do I want to say anything more? Let's just see, what notes did I make here? Living as a heart-centered being, this is a quote from David Clemens, is profoundly different from living as a being of mind. The perspective you have, heart-centered, the innate compassion that you have when you connect in that way, live in that way, is innate. I love the word innate, meaning it is within us. It's not something you need to be taught. No one can give it to you. No one can take it away. But if you're not focusing on it, you're not paying attention to it, and you get distracted by outside, this is my mainstream media, allopathic medicine, ideas just come straight to you. You don't have to intellectualize them or crunch the numbers or do any of this stuff. Intuitively guided, conscious qualities. So that's at 3140. And the interesting thing is Dr. David Clemens was trained. He's got a unique backstory. He shares it in this video, but he, was quite on the road and path to be a theoretical physicist in our world, like highly educated with, I think he did a double PhD or something. Like, it's pretty phenomenal, his backstory. But then at some point, click, he just realized and had to, I kind of hear him describing what I've had to do too. It's just, I've been doing it way, way slower. It's like, so when I see some guy do it way more efficient, I'm like, not jealous, but going, yeah, I could have done that faster, huh? And I will say a major deceleration for me was my psychiatric survivor history. That would put a real wrench. I allowed it to put a wrench. And I think based on, I was raised and indoctrinated in this world too. So I really, there were years like around the 2012 to 2016 era where I felt like until we take this psychiatry system down, I can't do what I want to do. I can't be who I really want to be, which is not true. It's not true, but I did believe it was true to some level. And I'm like, and every time I would try to go there, it destabilized me a little bit more. So that I'm like, okay, that's not working. Stop it. 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 And in 2018, October 2018, I did write 2 articles. I'm like, okay, put it to rest. I'm available for work in that area, but I'm just not going to go there. If it's the world's not ready, then the world's not ready. So those are documented on bovera.ca. Why I divorced my psychiatrist in the field of psychiatry, and the other one about first episode or something, pilot project. So those two I wrote boom boom back to back, and then done. It does come up a little bit here and there. However, anyway, that's kind of my justification of the silliness of Angele believing that she couldn't be her true self until everyone else believed her. Anyway, that seems very silly now, but anyway. And there's a clip at 24 minutes. He describes an energy field device. And anyways, we'll go on. We won't worry about that. But I highly recommend watch the video, but you will do what you feel to do. So I talked about that the heart-centered. And then the other thing, right as I was coming into this, okay, I'm 80% heart-centered on the ratio from 0 to 100%. I'm 80% personally right now, December 9th, 2024. And my flicker rate at the time was 150 per second, which is kind of a new, that flicker rate. I will talk briefly about flicker rate. When you think of frames per second in film, 60 frames per second tends to be associated with a relatively smooth visual experience of watching a film. So the idea of a flicker rate, when I first got connected to the idea of flicker rate, I think I was like 20, 30 a second, which I didn't really understand. Like I'm vibing this stuff like, I don't understand. And maybe these are all like, again, we're evolving a model. So, maybe I don't feel like I can totally understand everything, but I feel truth. We're all kind of divining rods of truth. There's a frequency and you can feel it in your body when your body is relatively healthy and you're in relatively calm mind, and, everything's relative, and, we are as we are as we are. I am as I am. And so the flicker rate, 120 per second, a couple months ago I started to become aware, oh, okay, or whatever it was, 130, 140. And I have to say, last week, I was having a lot of clearing and integrating. So that means not getting as much done and like, okay, this is what's happening, and doing things for myself, taking extra care and attention. So I noticed 150 was coming in, like, okay, and then I wouldn't feel well. Whereas today I feel well with 150, whereas yesterday I didn't. So things can change. I think we had a great big X flare in the early hours of mountain time. It was about 2 a.m. on Sunday morning. I think it was Sunday morning or Friday morning. I can't remember. Well, but anyway, but I did notice the week prior there was very few. I now follow and check daily, mostly daily on the solar weather app that I have, about how many in the last 24 hours. So there was like 4 C-class flares. It was really low, like compared to many, many weeks and months of the recent year or two, particularly last year. So, and then all of a sudden, boom, there was like 20 in 24 hours, all little ones, CCCC, a couple of M's, and then kaboom, a great big X. And then, of course, I go to Stefan Burns. I've shared with him in a recent video, boom shakala, and got another boom shakala. I watched about half of a video when he was talking about that X flare and other things. And yeah, so this idea of flicker rate. So kind of like your consciousness is sort of tapping into the higher realms. And I guess after watching this David Clemens presentation, oh, he really describes it in a new way. That was like, whoa, new data. Yes. And I will share a little bit of that in a moment. That you're tapping into this more plasma dimension and then coming back in, out, in, out, in, out. So there's sort of this intelligence field of plasma that we're in and out, in and out, in and out. So 150, like, okay, I'm feeling fluid, I'm feeling good, but anyway. Okay, I think we'll go. Now I think we will just show him, share screen. make sure that I'm still on video share. Yes, okay. So then we go here. Let's hear what he has to say here. Meet Dr. David Clements.
Energy. That's it. There's no more resolution to the structure of a photon or indeed any particle of matter in physics other than that. And I found that crazy because I thought, you guys are striving towards a theory, a final theory of everything, but you've left out some of the crucial key ingredients of, what actually makes that up. And that's one of the reasons when I was at, doing my PhD, I found that why isn't anybody investigating, the structure, what is actually matter? What is a photon? Is there any deeper structure to it? That kind of thing. And then they're not interested in that. They just want to know how they interact, how they can map them mathematically. And that's basically quantum theory, a quantum field theory in a nutshell. But my teams wanted me to look more deeply into this. And so when we come to this slide here, I'll just share that again. Essentially what they were saying is that the photon is a living library. It has enormous energetic properties inside it, and it by no means is just a point particle at all. And so every photon that interacts with you, that bounces off and interacts with something else, it both imparts and it collects information from you. It's like a living library that moves from one thing to another to another. And in spiritual circles, people talk about light being knowledge or light being understanding or awareness. Well, I see that play out in how photons behave. And what my teams have been telling me is that light is literally a living, expansive library, always collecting, always expanding. And it's an incredible, intricate system, how the creator has put this together, and how light imparts and also collects from you and then gifts that to somebody else. And it's an immense sharing experience. And so, and down here, I thought to put this on because even in.
Okay, I guess I just was wondering, where do I end? So I'm going to end there, but there's something else I have to look for here. The anatomy of a photon. Let's take a look at that picture. Photons are living libraries of coded experiential energetics. Oh yeah, he's talking about this Dr. Peter Garriev experiment where he transformed frog embryos into salamander embryos by having them nearby each other, having some photonic light go through. And I know that may got to be a little bit science geeky like me, but or not. But anyways, it's just the amazing truth of reality. Like if scientists aren't even willing and able to talk about it, but I think it wasn't as accessible in the past, but it is accessible now. And there's a lot of censorship and strange power plays, authority motives around that I think are delaying. And so power to the people. Now it's time for power to the people. So that's where I'm feeling to share my excitement today. Let me just see. There was a few. Anyways, you can watch. I don't want to get too, but he started to talk about, I wanted to show this picture. IC. So I did buy 3 of his IC devices. Principle of opening a gateway to higher dimensional properties and applying those generative living energetics. Infinity, synergy, energy, evolution. But actually, just before that, let me see. He was describing something. There's a good picture. Oh, well, I can't find it. So anyways, I'm going to stop my share here. That's really profound, the words that you just heard. But I mean, you could choose to listen more. I would highly recommend it. He gave some really cool explanations. But I'm just going to read another quote from 125. Humanity, and this is where I stopped watching and had to go for groceries and now getting this done before I go to my appointment at 3:30. So humanity has this very profound direct connection to source again, so that we live from that source intelligence within us, which is who we truly are. And then all that, I'm just getting this out of my way, it's distracting me. And then all action from that is innately benevolent, innately compassionate, innately thoughtful towards others. You don't even have to effort. That is just the nature of the source field that comes through us as our higher self and sacred heart center can perceive holistically. Yeah, because he did talk about remote perception. So he's describing something he's experienced and how he does remote perception. Well, that's what I do too. But I guess I do it differently. Like everyone's so unique. So there's some general concepts. So remote perception, one of these little guys, a very relevant, highly relevant attribute, fully accessible to all human beings who are ensouled. I don't know if there's clones or NPC or what the heck, but if you've got a soul, you can do this. It's just, how connected are you to it? And I got this really weird idea. I will show you something of all these different. This is a soul drawing of me. This one is May 17th, 2018. So I came to meet a genius. She's actually got a fair amount of dysfunction in a lot of other areas of her life, but she has this genius skill. So she did this drawing, and it comes kind of with an intuitive reading. But look at this bar. This is sort of a telepathy. But look at these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like kind of connections to the higher self. And then I didn't have a date for this, but this turned into this. I think a year might have passed or two. I can't remember. And also look at the heart chakra. So it was a lotus flower, pink and green there. And then it changed quite a bit here. So yeah, what was the date again? May 2018. I had such a dramatic event happen in January 2018, one of these out of the ordinary experiences where so much was happening. And I could talk a lot about some of my experience, but I'm not going to today. So yeah, now there's just more connections and there's just so much in here. But anyway, she did a couple others after this, but she ended up like emailing me the photo and I didn't actually have the piece of paper. I wish I did. And I'd like to get another one, but I don't think she's in a state to do that right now. But yeah, things happen for people. So yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, and I love at some point, David Clemens spoke very fluidly, sharing. And then the interviewer from Fessick said she wanted to kind of shift it towards his technologies, which I'm going to watch later. But she did say, I loved her terms, death science to living science. So that lit me up as well. I've come to know her because I follow that channel. She's a really beautiful soul with her own gifts and her own genius. And just, it's interesting how they do their Fessick meetings. They make it from like meetings, agenda. They tend to have two speakers. I've never attended one live, but I really appreciate when they share them. Like that was on November 6th. They did it on November 6th, but it was only shared to YouTube publicly today. But yeah, so basically, I would say allopathic medicine, the way it works, is a bit more like a death science. I say that gently. I say that with compassion in my heart. But we do want living science, right? Right? Are you with me? Are you with me? I want to get silly. I do want to get silly. Okay, here, let me just get silly because I was looking at some of my, what do you call it? My playlist. I'm starting to, instead of doing on Facebook, I'm putting really what I think are really powerful, okay, things like I'll show you here. Let's make this smaller. How do we do that again? Oh yeah, exit full screen like this. Exit full screen. I could do it like this. There we go. So yeah, on my channel, I have playlists and I'm going to have to clean this up. It's a bit of a mess, but some of them are going to, like, here's one I just added to Authentic Family. I'm going to make some publicly available instead of posting on Facebook like I used to. I'm just going to put videos that are interesting to me there. It looks like I have a movie medicine one. What's on my movie medicine one? Oh, Rise. Okay. No. Anyway, okay. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing. That's not what I was trying to show you. No. I actually more pertinently was Agent Angel. I just wanted to point out Agent Angel, but of course some of these. So this playlist. How do I just go to my
Happy
playlist? No,
November,
not
everyone.
that one. Oh my goodness. I want to see my playlist. But anyways, there's an Agent Angel playlist. View full playlist. That's what I want to do. So there's Ken Lloyd. Yeah, I guess that's true. I watched this one on Saturday night, Ken Lloyd, and I have a session with him Tuesday, December 10th, tomorrow, 30 minutes. So anyways, that one, oh my God, that one really lit me up too. So it's like, how much letting up? And then I really like this Sheila Seppi. She is here and she is friends with Ken Lloyd. So anyways, she got onto my radar I think through Michael Sala, but I found her discussion of souls and some of the different ways, how unique and diverse we are. That's why that one's there. And of course, Aurora, I love. Now, this one, I'm not sure how well curated that is. That was back in November, but the idea of Akashic Records. So that's what I want to say there. But I actually came here to show you more. Da, da, da. I want to be silly. I need this to be out of my way. I can't see. Okay, I know. What do? I can do this. I want to be very silly. I love children's entertainment because it can just be fun sometimes. And I'm going to play you.
Let's get on the bus. It's time to go. Let's get on the bus. Hey, don't you know? Let's get on the bus. Go here to there. Let's get on the bus. Go everywhere.
So that's children's entertainment in Canada. Like, oh my God, it's hilarious, right? Let's get on the bus. Let's go from here to there. Like, we're in this framework and we can go everywhere. We can be free. We can be harmonious. We can be healthy. We can be vital. We can be creative. We can be fulfilled. We can all of us. Anyway,
come with me and we'll see all there is to see. You can be who you want to be. We can go anywhere today. Yeah. It's okay. We know Bob always knows the way. On the board, there's no time to delay. Come along, we can sing and play. Yeah. Let's get on the bus.
It's time to go.
Let's get on the bus.
It's time for the show.
I really want to play more, but I'm sure many of you, or some of you might even turn this off at this point. Oh, how do I get out of this again? I'm going to exit full screen. I'm going to stop my share. Honestly, like, I feel all my years as an education advocate, I feel like, and also not only that, I lived with a beautiful friend for 2 years. We lived together. I was a young practicing family physician and she was a special needs education teacher. So it was just amazing to learn so much about how, if we're going to teach something, we have to diversify. You know, one person's going to learn well this way, one person's that way. But all the while, the last decade, I've just gotten in my head, like, you can't be like everyone else because it's just, we're not there yet. We don't have enough interest and focus and attention on yet. I always like to say yet. And so I just think it's silly. And I mean, we're in kindergarten. I hate to share that. I mean, I share with compassion in my heart, as always. We are in kindergarten as far as what is a human being, fully and truly, and what is reality. That's okay. Kindergarten's super fun, remember? I actually enjoyed it. I recall enjoying it and like, do this, do that. I think, anyway. Oh boy. So that's why I like to be silly sometimes. I mean, I'm just naturally silly. I can't help that part. And what else I gotta figure? Yeah, I wish I could do this all quicker. How do I? Yeah, I want to do this because actually that was good. I could look at all my things. So this is my little notes I sent to myself. Let's see, where are we going now? We are definitely not needing that, or are we? And then I just happened to see this Coldplay. Look at Dick Van Dyke. But anyways, this is Ken Lloyd. Let's just listen. Let's meet Ken Lloyd briefly. I'm going to meet him and have a session with him tomorrow. And I have a sense that he almost seems like he to me is sort of validation, the idea that, you know, med beds, you hear about med beds, this technology, you go lay in this bed and does all this. Well, I would say this guy is the med bed. Like, and I remember one of my kind of galactic multidimensional friends said, don't worry about med beds. You are the med bed. He told me that. And it felt so true. That was like 2018, I think that was. And I remember going, oh, kind of made me cock my head to the side and like, oh, okay, how do I get my internal med bed to work or my self-healing mechanisms in line? But I basically feel like this guy is that. Let's just meet him briefly.
So the way they're explaining it to me right now is, you know, imagine the idea that you knew everything. That doesn't mean you have everything on the tip of your tongue. But if you knew you had access to everything and everything's inside of us, inside of you, Where's the interest in diving down to redo something you already know? And this is what they're showing me. If I've done this so many billions of times that I don't need to go diving for those answers that everyone else is seeking right now. You know, everyone else, just the community in general, for whatever the topics are, right? Like, you don't need to do that. One, it's in the Library of Creation, and in a short time they'll show me how to access that to get all the knowledge of whatever I need, which is fine. But what am I going to do with it? Right? It is literally, when you reach that point of you no longer need the answer because you no longer need the question because it's already inside of you. You kind of traverse that. You move through it. And the information you need for the job you're doing, for the task at hand, will show up as you need it. And they call it just-in-time information, something like that.
I love that. Just-in-time information, just in time. Living in the now, having just-in-time information. Living in the now, having just-in-time information. I wonder if anyone's following me here. Do, 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 do. Get on the bus. Do, 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 do. It's time to go. Get on the bus. From here to there, we can go everywhere. We can know everything, anything. And I guess there's that definition of abundance, having what you need to have when you need to have it, knowing what you need to know when you need to know it. It really is a different way of living, this heart-centered way of living. When you're too mind-focused, I mean, there's just so little that you can do. I don't know, it just doesn't work the same. Energy flows aren't working in your body. You're not as connected to your true nature. And it doesn't fit into the allopathic medical model framework. So that, I guess, would be just such a powerful message I would love to deliver. I do remember, I'm kind of forgetting if it's 2015 Christmas or 2016 Christmas, but one of those two Christmases, my mom and dad gifted both my brother and I and our families to go on a cruise. So we did. And on that cruise, like, sometimes it's just funny how you remember things, but I do remember we were talking about blah, 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 medical tests or whatever. And I know I was given some kind of document. Oh, it would have been 2015. That's right, because I hadn't divorced my psychiatrist yet. But, and I was supposed to do a 24-hour urine collection because taking lithium, we know it's going to harm your thyroid and your kidneys. So they wanted to see, well, how harmed are your kidneys so far? And I'm like, I'm not doing that test. I'm getting the frick off of this. And I did eventually stop it in November 2016, but I never did the 24-hour urine collection to see how damaged my kidneys might be from taking lithium carbonate. So on that, so somehow we were talking about that. And then I just said, oh, I don't believe in medical science. And I just said it so like, and then I kind of heard myself say, I'm like, what? That was kind of new to me. I kind of didn't realize that. And then I realized that, heard myself say it. That happens to me quite regularly all my life, all my adult life. I will kind of reflect back, I said that. That felt really true, but like really shocked me. Like, well, I don't believe in medical science. Oh my God. But, you know, it's irrelevantly irrelevant. It's still relevant, especially if you're on all these drugs. I mean, you got to find your way out, and there's a way, there's lots of ways. And I love to collaborate with people to work on that. But anyway, that's an aside. So let me just remind myself what else I want to show you. I think it might be just some songs. Let's see. So that I'll link a few, anything I've played here, I will be linking in the description. But what else did I have? Oh yeah, maybe I'll just do a quick little peek here. This is, you know, back to basics, water. So this gentleman, his name is Dr. Alex Ling, and he's right now living in Bacalar, Mexico, and he's involved with the, Sasha Stone is developing a community there. But let's just hear, you may not totally understand all this, but anyway, this is him talking about water that he got out of the lagoon in Bacalar, Mexico, and he's frozen it and maybe done some light through it too to make these pictures. Let's look at these pictures, because I do want to just emphasize that there is a really, again, out of the box framework when we think about water. What is water? And there's quite a number of amazing, Vita Austin being one of them. I may link something about her. So just how, and then there's a Dr. Pollock who talks about the fourth phase of water. These are highly relevant data for our new framework that we're evolving a model for living, and water is a big part of it. And how we think about water, I will just offer to you that I've been keeping an eye on that for quite a while. And that's okay. What's going on? My appointment. I'm ready to see you if you want to come earlier. Okay, let's see what happens. Let's listen to Dr. Alex Ling, just a brief. Let's go bigger. Just because I know, actually, I realized on my phone, it's got to be big to even make an impact.
What are we looking at? We've got to get through these slides here just so people understand what they're looking at.
Okay, this here was the most beautiful blueprint which we extracted from the water when we actually asked the water which function the water would have, not just as hydration for the plants and for the animals and all this, but also on a spiritual level. And we got this extraordinary blueprint back. And this blueprint we extracted from a water sample which we taken from the Laguna. And of course, we have asked for permission first. And then we fast froze it in a petri dish, and it's a small amount of water, just about 3 ml of water, and fast freezing it. And then we have a specific way of photography, which we are using, the same photography which is being used in ice photography. So
Right.
that way, with these lenses, you can highlight all the beautiful crystallization and the coloration in these iced particles. So it's absolutely beautiful. And we can see here, and when we showed this image, the first one from the Laguna to the indigenous people, there's instantly also recognized the phoenix, which is on the bottom of the print. And
Anyways, I'll just stop there. But anyway, I just kind of try to keep it simple. I mean, this obviously could get some more exploration. And what are we going to do here? I'm going to, yeah, I just took my cue, and my appointment from 3:30 can be earlier. I'm going to make this quicker. And all I want to do is play snippets of 2 songs. And then I'll be signing off. So I know some people might not want to hear them, but I really, okay, there is one more thing. One more thing, one more silliness. Here's my inbox. I sent some pictures to myself. I want to show you this. I went to groceries today, and look at this. Look at this. I couldn't believe this. I'm like, whoa, what happened? So I went and talked to a gentleman. His name was George, working at my local Safeway, Riverbend Safeway. And then Ming is one of they both have been working for Safeway for a long time, but I'm like, I have never seen it look like this. How is it so ordered? How is it so, I was just oozing, and I shared with him, and he just laughed and said, oh, let Ming know that you appreciated his efforts today. But someone who works at Safeway made it look like this. They had done a renovation about a year ago to make the shelves more displaying like this. Like, I just was like, that, I'd never seen that before. It's probably been a couple of weeks since I've been to my local Safeway because I went to Superstore last time, but like, what? I don't know, stuff like that. I was just like, wow, that's amazing. Oh yeah, and then I guess there was consent. I wanted to show you this one. Someone shared this with me. What makes sex not rape? Consent. What makes a job not slavery? Consent. What makes a transaction not a robbery? Consent. What makes taxation not theft? Magical fairy dust. Anyways, I don't know, for some reason I felt like I wanted to share, because it just came in today. So I'm just sharing my day with you a little bit. But really all we're going to do is listen to some songs now. Let's do, okay, first this one came. As I was on my way to Safeway, this was playing.
Whenever the cold wind blows and it's blowing my way, I say this will be my day, and it won't be long. No, it won't be long. Whenever the sun shines bright and it's shining my way, and I say it'll be okay when the storm has come. When the storm has come, I could be standing in the road, standing in the mirror.
Okay, there's that one. And then we're going to play Change.
Living too fast, moments don't last. What are we doing here? Too distracted to react. Busy lives guided by fear. I think it's time that we all slow down and take a long look around. So much pride and so much fighting, why we always gotta be right. So much emotion in a passing feeling, so So many things inside our minds. I think it's time that we all slow down and take a long look around.
It's not too late to change. Change. It's not too late to change. Anyways, I'm being silly. But anyways, I think I'm gonna go to my appointment early and get my day on the road. Signing off.